This is Elton Kane for Finextra at Cyboss, and I'm here with Andrew Davies of Fiserv. Andrew, why is it so important to have ongoing due diligence when it comes to financial crime management?
There's really three main reasons why it's so important to do ongoing and initial due diligence. One is the compliance obligations. Financial institutions and organizations more broadly are responsible, have certain compliance obligations and responsibility to make sure that they understand who their customers are and that their customers' behavior is consistent with what they're expecting from customers of that type. And those reasons are really the compliance obligation. There's obviously a risk mitigation obligation, so to their own businesses and to their customers to make sure that they are mitigating that risk by understanding who they're dealing with. And then there's really the third element is really a moral imperative. Understanding who your customers are, so if they are doing anything untoward, maybe they're committing some sort of financial crime, you understand that and can mitigate the risk of that elimination of that financial crime so that you can take the appropriate action.
What business process and technology challenges do banks have when trying to understand customer risk?
The first thing is it's not really a one-stop, a one-size-fits-all process. So you have to take into account the type of customer. You have to understand your full relationship with the customer across your all of the accounts, all of the interactions that you have with that customer, reconciling to a unique customer ID so you understand all of those relationships, and then having processes in place to look at not only the initial due diligence but the ongoing due diligence to understand their behavior over time. So it's really aggregating data and then monitoring that data collectively throughout the entire life cycle.
So how can these challenges be overcome, and what do banks stand to gain if they can understand their customers and not just know them?
Well, knowing your customer means, let's do that identity verification, understand who they are, understand who the owners of certain organizations are. That's really that sort of first step of knowing, of validating who they are. But then on understanding goes to a sort of deeper level where you're looking at their behavior, understanding their business, so you understand your risks in dealing with the risks associated with your customers. Now the way that you deal with that is beyond that initial due diligence, you also feed in information about their ongoing behavior, their interactions with you, and also their subsequent interactions with beneficiaries or organizations that they're doing business with, and feeding that and understanding that behavior in the context of all of the characteristics of the customer. So looking at geodemographic information, dynamic behavioral information, and feeding that into a risk scoring mechanism. And it's really that sort of aggregating that data together, understanding it, and we talked about understanding that in the context of financial crime risk, but of course there's inherent value in understanding who your customers are. So it's really, banks can take really a leaf out of the book of retail organizations in trying to predict future services that a customer may be interested in by understanding the customer. So it's really mitigating risk and then understanding the value of the customer and potentially using that data to extract inherent value in that data.
That's great, Andrew. Thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching.